Joining us now in the studio, Mark Tullos, President and CEO of the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience. How do you say it? The MAEX. Do you say it?
We call it the MAEX.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I thought that's the way I'd always heard it. I just wanted to make sure.
Right. No, that's right.
Yeah.
You're studied up as usual.
The MAEX. Very cool. All right. And so, first of all, tell us about the museum. I personally have to say, I'm embarrassed to say, I've never been, but heard nothing but great things about it.
Well, it's really a fantastic asset for Mississippi and Mississippians, and we hope everybody will take a weekend to come to Meridian and enjoy this. It's a museum, an actually $50 million partnership between the private sector and the state to build this tribute to all of Mississippi's arts and entertainers. So it begins with a Hall of Fame, where we are going to talk about in a moment. We have an induction ceremony every other year, and now's the time to vote on the next class. But we also have 14,000 square feet of exhibitions, all interactive, that explore all the artists and entertainers that came out of this state.
Which the state is rich in that, honestly. And so, all right, Mark, how did it end up in Meridian? What's the story there?
It's about a 20-year history that was back and forth between Haley Barbour and the original board, and all the way through our past governor, and then to Tate Reeves, who really took a leadership role in helping us get the final funding. We appreciate the governor's leadership in that. But Meridian has always been, at one time, at the turn of the century, it was the largest city in the state. That's why it's called the Queen City. And we still have this tremendous inventory and potential as a city to come back, because we have this great inventory of old buildings, including the 3-foot. Well, they saw this as a cultural tourism investment in downtown Meridian. So it's built in downtown Meridian. 5 years ago when I moved there, you could lay down on 22nd Avenue and not get hit by a car. Well, now things are really beginning to pop, because in just a few weeks, the 3-foot opens as a boutique Marriott hotel, concierge, all the 4-star restaurant. We've had a number of other restaurants open up downtown, and shops, even have a cigar shop across the street from the MAEX. So this cultural tourism concept from the state's perspective is working. Their investment is really beginning to recharge what has historically been a great city.
Well, the downtown area has just always been neat. I mean, it's kind of has a big city sort of feel to it. You got some tall buildings and just the way the streets are laid out in the line. I used to go over there quite a bit with my father, who was a clothing rep that sold to Marks Rothenberg and Harry Mayer and all those guys over there. So I used to love to go eat at Weidman's.
Weidman's, still there, operating full.
Got to do that on your visit to Meridian and eat the peanut butter and black bottom pie.
That's right.
Right?
You're not from Mississippi if you haven't been around Weidman's at least once in your life. So.
And it's like a museum when you look at
it certainly is.
Pictures on the wall. It's incredible. So right there in the state of Mississippi. So, all right, so tell us about this Hall of Fame voting coming up. What's going on there?
Well, we have every other year, and the reason we do it every other year is because most of these artists, we need to plan at least 18 months in advance to get on their calendar if they're inducted or selected. Yeah. And it also takes time to make those travel arrangements to get them to Meridian. For instance, this past fall, we had our induction ceremony during the middle of COVID. We had planned it for 2 years, so we had to pull it off. So we did it very safely in the Riley Center. And we had Bo Diddley's family. We had Tammy Wynette's family. We had Jerry Lee Lewis's sister. It was just an amazing evening of performances and discussion. So this year, we're inducting 5 new candidates. And if you go to our website, msarts.org, the first slide you'll see is about the Hall of Fame induction voting. You have, it began on June 17th, the voting, and it will end on October 15th. And we're encouraging all the public to go in and look at this list of 28 people. And there's some great names on that list. And pick your favorites, because when that closes, we will tabulate the votes and announce on December 16th who the 5 inductees are this year.
Wow.
It's a tough pick. We've got over 800 artists, so we get scholars and industry leaders to narrow that 800 list down to about 30 or 40 every year. This year they narrowed it down to 28. And so if you don't see your favorite artists on that list, they may be on there next year.
I got you.
But we're hoping everybody will.
All right, so let me ask you this. How is one defined as an artist?
Well, you have to, first of all, there are 3 basic criteria. You either have to have been born in Mississippi, or you have to spend the most of your career in Mississippi. You may be out of state, but you have to spend most of your career in Mississippi, or you have to have those sort of roots, like, that you were born here and then you left the state in your childhood and you did great things. That's sort of the parameters. But you have to have made a significant contribution in your area of art or music or literature that is recognized globally. Okay. That's how they select them. So that's why you see people like John Grisham and Tennessee Williams and artists like Oprah Winfrey and entertainers and people like that came out. Morgan Freeman. Yeah. All these great people. Darth Vader. From Mississippi. So, and Jim Henson. So, we've got
Muppets.
When the governor, Tate Reeves, refers to this museum as hosting embarrassment of riches. And I think he's right. This is an embarrassment for Mississippi to have this many talented people come out of the state. So it's something to come see, because if you're a Mississippian, you will be proud when you leave. Not that you may not be proud already, but you're going to be prouder.
Yeah. Why do you think we have so much talent in the arts come out of Mississippi? And it's really across the spectrum of arts. Why is that? We have musical artists, we have actors, we have folks that invent Muppets.
Right. I think
talk show hosts
exactly.
and so forth. So
there's a lot of theories about that. Mac McAnally, he's the 3-time Grammy Songwriter of the Year. Yeah. And writes for Jimmy Buffett. Just a wonderful entertainer. He says, well, it's because there's a lot of time in Mississippi. That's one thing we have, is a lot of spare time. And so artists need time. But I think that's one idea. Some artists may equate it to the strife and the struggles that they've had here to try and rise above the fray of all their challenges. So there's a myriad of reasons why. I think one thing, too, is, for instance, all the writers, storytelling is a tradition here in Mississippi.
That's true. Yeah.
And I think that's part of what fosters all these great authors, too.
Our friend Steve Azar, that he talks about that, just sort of the environment itself, the landscape itself. It just seems to, I guess, kind of foment art. Yeah.
Right.
And inspires it. And he talks openly about that. His upbringing, his childhood, and his keen eye to just observe those environments and how that contributed to his works, which I just think is really cool. And, of course, I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame, but from not far away from where you are, Paul Davis.
Right.
One of my favorite artists, by the way.
Teenager in Meridian, Mississippi. But Steve was in our recording studio. We also have 3 studios, visual art classroom studios. We also have a professional recording studio. And Steve was our first artist to cut a record in there with the governor, past governor. And it's called One Mississippi. If you've never listened to it, look it up. It's on YouTube. Watch the YouTube video, because you'll see the governor with sunglasses on clapping his hands. And it's really to the song. So it's really a great tribute to Mississippi. And the lyrics are wonderful.
All right. So who votes again on this Hall of Fame?
Anybody. And you can vote once a day.
All right.
If you want to. Once a day. Okay. We want people to really participate. And you don't have to be from Mississippi to vote. So if you have some friends that are from Mississippi, that are in California, send them the link to this website and have them vote. Get everybody charged up, because we want to see what people's reactions are to this list when we announce it on December 16th.
And speaking of folks not from Mississippi, you've had visitors from all over the place.
Oh, all over the world.
All over the world. What do they say?
The most common thing from people who come from uppity big cities like New York and L.A. is, I can't believe this is in Mississippi.
Of course.
I would expect it to be in Washington, D.C. or New York, but it really is a first-class experience. I hope people will come and join us.
I've always thought that our entire state, in so many aspects of it, we're just a hidden gem. We're too much of a well-kept secret, honestly. There's so much greatness here, and certainly we are no stranger to the arts. Had the opportunity to swing the golf club a little bit with Charlie Pride.
Oh, yeah.
Over in Dallas, where he was living.
Isn't he a wonderful guy?
Fantastic. What a great ambassador.
He was a great soul.
Yeah, fantastic. Mark, thanks so much for joining.